greetings to everyone. Today we are diving into an important topic. Before we begin, let me share two lines from a chopai or stanza of the Ramcharitmanas, a holy epic written by the great poet Saint Goswami Tulsidas in Awadhi language. The lines are का वर्षा सब कृषि सुखाने समय चूके पुनि का पछताने. The simple meaning of these lines is what good is the rain once crops are dried? Once the time is lost, there is no point in regretting it. This highlights the importance of managing the time well. So today's topic is all about time management, which is crucial for managing any project. Let's look at a real world example. Think about how Apple launches new mobile phones and gadgets at regular intervals. Their R&D team works hard and run projects to improve the features and meet customer demands. If a project gets delayed and Apple doesn't release the updates on time, the competitors could gain an advantage and may capture the market with their latest features. This shows why managing project schedule is so important. Let's explore it in detail. Project schedule management. It is a key knowledge area in project management that focuses on ensuring the timely completion of a project. It involves planning, developing, managing, and controlling the project schedule to ensure tasks and activities are completed on time. This process is essential for keeping the project on track and meeting the deadlines. There are total 6 processes in project schedule management. 5 processes fall under planning process group and 1 process falls under monitoring and controlling process group. The first process is plan schedule management. This process involves establishing the policies, procedures, and documentation for planning, developing, managing, executing, and controlling the project schedule. Plan schedule management sets the foundation for how the schedule will be handled, ensuring that all stakeholders are aligned on the approach and methodologies to be used. Second activity is define activities. This process involves identifying and documenting the specific actions to be performed to produce the project deliverables. Define activities ensures that all necessary tasks are identified and documented, providing a clear roadmap for project execution. The third process is sequence activities. This process involves identifying and documenting the relationship among the project activities. Sequence activities establishes the order in which tasks should be performed, ensuring a logical flow and efficient use of resources. Next process is estimate activity durations. This process involves estimating the number of work hours needed to complete individual activity with estimated resources. Estimated activity durations provide a realistic timeline for each task, helping to set expectations and plan resources effectively. Next is develop schedule. This process involves analyzing activity sequences, durations, resource requirements, and schedule constraints to create a schedule model for the project execution and monitoring and controlling. Develop schedule creates a comprehensive schedule model that guides project execution and monitoring, ensuring that all activities are planned and tracked effectively. The last process is control schedule. This process involves monitoring the status of the project to update the project schedule and managing changes to the schedule baseline. Control schedule ensures that the project remains on track by continuously monitoring progress and making necessary adjustment to the schedule. Next, we will do the comparative analysis how these project schedule management processes are carried out differently in the predictive and agile projects. So first process is plan schedule management. If it is predictive project, this process is highly detailed and thorough. It involves creating a structured plan that covers the entire project duration from start to finish. For example, our 20 megawatt solar power plant, we would plan for the entire project timeline, covering the site preparation, procurement, installation, and commissioning phases. While as in Agile, the planning processes is more adaptive and iterative. There is no fixed schedule for the entire project upfront. Only a high-level roadmap is set. For example, a mobile health app development project, we might plan releases or sprints with flexibility to adjust as priority change with each sprint. Define activities. In predictive approach, activities are defined for the entire project lifecycle. Every single task required to complete the project is identified upfront. For solar power plant project, tasks like site preparation, procurement of panels, installation of panels, and testing would all be defined at the beginning. While in agile approach, activities are defined for the short term, typically done within the each sprint or iteration. So tasks are identified based on the most urgent user stories or features. For our mobile health app development project, activities like develop login features or test data encryption, these are defined per sprint. Sequence activity. In predictive approach, activities are sequenced based on dependencies, resources, and timelines across the entire project. Task dependency like finish to start, finish to finish are identified upfront. Techniques like CPM and PERT are used. In solar power plant, site preparation must be completed before the installing solar panels and is planned upfront. This is the dependency. In Agile, sequencing is more flexible. Tasks are sequenced within each sprint during sprint planning meetings. So dependencies are managed through daily stand-up and sprint planning meeting. For health app, user stories are prioritized and the sequence is based in immediate needs like customer feedback or a new feature request. Estimate activity duration. In predictive, durations are estimated for every activity before execution, aiming for a high degree of certainty. The entire project timeline is mapped out with the time estimates fixed in early stages. In solar power plant project, we will estimate that site preparation will take 4 weeks, solar panel installation will take 6 weeks. So this kind of estimation we can do upfront. Whereas in agile approach, durations are typically estimated in story point or time boxed for sprint, like 2 to 4 weeks sprint. Estimations are less precise and evolve over time based on team velocity. For our health mobile app, tasks might be estimated as small, medium, or large with a focus on how much can be completed in a sprint rather than exact duration. Next activity, develop schedule. In predictive, a comprehensive schedule is developed for the entire project, assigning specific start and end dates to tasks. The schedule is detailed and serves as the baseline for project tracking. Gantt chart, network diagrams are developed. like example, for the solar power plant, the schedule will map out all tasks: procurement in quarter 1, installation in quarter 2, commissioning in quarter 3. While in agile approach, a short-term schedule is created for each sprint, but the overall project timelines remains flexible. The team plans only for the upcoming iteration. So burn down chart, velocity chart are developed for the sprint monitoring. For the health app, the schedule is developed sprint by sprint with features being added continuously depending on the team progress. Last activity is control schedule. In predictive approach, it focuses on monitoring and controlling the schedule against the baseline. Variances are tracked and corrective actions are taken when deviations occur. If delays occur in the solar power plant installation, the team will update the schedule, issue change requests, and work to get back the project on track. While in agile approach, schedule control happens at the sprint level. Progress is reviewed frequently during the daily stand-up meeting, sprint review meeting. Any issues are handled immediately within the each iteration. For the health app, if a feature is not completed within a sprint, it is moved to the next sprint without causing major disruption to the overall project. Let's discuss each process in detail with input, tools and techniques, and output, ITTOs. We will take one project for the reference: installation and commissioning of 20 megawatt solar power plant, and will try to relate the processes in its context. The plan schedule management process is the first process in the project schedule management. We create a schedule management plan that establishes the criteria and the activities for developing, monitoring, and controlling the schedule. The schedule management plan may be formal or informal, highly detailed or broadly framed based on the needs of the project, and it includes appropriate control thresholds. To carry out this process, we need some inputs like project charter, project management plan, EEFs, and OPAs. Project charter serves as a foundational document for the schedule management plan. It provides high-level project objectives and deliverables, which will set the stage for schedule planning. For our solar power plant project, it outlines project goals, timelines, and key milestones. Project management plan. This is another input. Scope management plan, one of its subsidiary plan, describes how the scope will be defined and developed, which will provide information on how the schedule will be developed. The product development approach will help define the scheduling approach, estimating techniques, scheduling tools, and techniques for controlling the schedule. Cost and risk plan will also give inputs for schedule management plan. EEF, it is another input. We can determine the factors like organizational culture, team resources availability, market conditions, which can impact the project scheduling. For the solar power plant, local weather conditions, resource availability, and regulatory constraints may impact the scheduling up to a great extent. OPAs, as historical data and lessons learned from similar projects in past, can help in scheduling. This can provide insights into typical schedules and potential challenges for solar plant installations. Come to the tools and techniques. So expert judgment is one technique. We can involve the professionals. They can be consulted who have experience in similar projects and have expertise to determine realistic scheduling. Experts in solar plant installation can provide insights into typical timelines and potential delays. Data analysis is another tool. Different kind of data analysis techniques can be used as alternative analysis, document analysis, and the cost benefit analysis. Alternative analysis is a technique used to evaluate different approaches, solutions, or options for achieving the project's objective. Different scheduling methods are assessed. Comparison can be done whether CPM or PERT to determine which method better accommodates the project's uncertainty and complexity. Normally, CPM might be chosen for its straightforward approach in managing tasks and dependencies, while PERT could be selected for tasks with uncertain durations. Document analysis involves reviewing and analyzing existing project documentation like business case, feasibility studies, contract, and technical specification to gather more information that will guide the schedule management. Cost benefit analysis involves comparing the cost and benefits of different scheduling options to determine the best approach. We can analyze the cost implications of using advanced scheduling softwares. Meetings is another powerful tool. It facilitates collaboration and communication among stakeholders to align on scheduling details. Regular meetings with project teams and suppliers ensure that all parties agree on the schedule. So, output we are getting a schedule management plan here. It is a comprehensive document that outlines how the project schedule will be developed, monitored, and controlled. It ensures that all stakeholders are aligned on the approach to schedule management and provides a clear framework for managing the project timeline effectively. Next process is define activities. Define activities process involves identifying and documenting all the specific actions that need to be performed to produce the project deliverables. This process breaks down the work packages defined in the work breakdown structure into activities that are specific, measurable, and actionable. Come to the inputs for this process. Most of the inputs as project management plan, EEFs, and OPAs are almost same as previous process we just spoke about. All the components of project management plan like schedule management plan, scope baseline will provide the guidelines on how to define, sequence, and manage the project activities. Come to the EEF, factors like local climate conditions, labor regulations, and available technologies can influence the activity definition process. For example, if the solar plant is located in an area which is prone to monsoons, the project team must account for weather delays in activity durations. OPAs, organizational process assets, can include the historical information, templates, and lessons learned from similar projects in past. If the organization has built a similar solar power plant before, the lessons learned from those projects can guide the breakdown of activities, ensuring that no critical tasks are overlooked. Come to the tools and techniques. Expert judgment, we just spoke about in the last process. We can take leverage of knowledge and insights of individuals or groups with specialized expertise in a particular area in our solar power plant. Decomposition, this is the another tool. Decomposition involves breaking down work packages into smaller, more manageable activities. Like in our case, install solar panel is a work package. It could be broken down into activities like panel unloading, mounting, structure setup, or panel placement and panel wiring. So these kind of activities can be broken down. Rolling wave planning. In this technique, activities are defined for the near term in greater detail, while future activities are defined at a higher level and elaborated as more information becomes available. For example, in our solar power plant, we might first define detailed activities for site preparation and procurement, while leaving installation and commissioning at a higher level until the procurement activities are nearing to the completion. Next tool is meetings. So regular meetings with project teams and stakeholders ensure that all parties agree on the defined activities. Come to the outputs. So the first output here of this process is activity list. It is a comprehensive list of all activities which are required to complete the project. So for our project, solar power plant project, activities like excavate trenches for cabling, install inverters, mount PV modules, test electrical connections, perform final commissioning tests. So these all are the activity list. Activity attributes. This is the additional information about each activity, such as predecessor relationships, duration, resource requirements, and any kind of constraints. So for example, like we have activity install inverters. So the attribute will be required resources like electrical technicians, and durations. It will take 2 weeks time to complete this task, and a predecessor relationship with procure inverters. Next is milestone list. Significant events in the project schedule that represent the completion of key deliverables or phases. So for our project, maybe milestone 1 could be completion of the site preparation, milestone 2 installation of solar panels, milestone 3 the final commissioning and operation testing. Change request. If during this process any new activities are discovered that were not part of the original plan, so change requests may be submitted. Project management plan updates. Any updates on the project management plan resulting from the newly defined activities will be updated. If additional activities are required, the project team may need to update the schedule baseline and cost baseline to reflect the new task. Next process is sequence activities. Sequence activity process involves identifying and documenting relationships among the project activities. It ensures that activities are logically ordered based on dependencies, which helps in creating a realistic project schedule. In this process, activities are sequenced to ensure a smooth workflow and to prevent delays caused by missing or incorrect dependencies. So inputs here are project management plan. Especially the schedule management plan provides the approach and criteria for sequencing activities. It includes methods like mandatory, discretionary, and external dependencies. For example, in our solar power plant project, the schedule management plan would define rules for sequencing activities, like install panels only after once the foundation work is completed. Project document is another input. So project document like activity list, so which contains all the activities that need to be sequenced. Activity attributes provides additional information about the activities such as dependencies, resources required, and constraints. So this will be work as a input. Assumption log. Assumptions and constraints recorded in the assumption log may influence the way activities are sequenced, the relationship between activities, and the need for leads and lags, and may give rise to individual project risk that may impact the project schedule. Milestone list, another project document. It defines the key milestone in the project, such as the completion of the installation phase. So these all project documents will work as an input for this activity. Come to the tools and techniques. Precedence diagramming method, we call PDM. So this technique is used to construct a network diagram that shows the logical relationship between activities. PDM normally involves four types of relationships. Finish to start, an activity must finish before the next one can start. Start to start, two activities can start at the same time. Finish to finish, two activities must finish together. Start to finish, an activity must start before another can finish. So in our solar power plant project, the activity like excavate trenches for cabling must finish before laying the underground cables. Dependency determination and integration. This is another tool. So here in this tool, we discuss about different type of dependencies like mandatory dependencies. These are dependencies that are contractually required or inherent to the work. Like in our solar power plant project, foundation excavation must be completed before installing of solar panels. Discretionary dependencies. These are based on best practices or preferences. So it might be preferable to inspect the foundation before starting panel installation. If there is any problem, so that can be rectified, even though it's not very strictly required. External dependencies. These involves relationship between project activities and external factors. So external dependencies could include waiting for permits or equipment delivery before proceeding with the installation. Internal dependencies, these are within the project team's control, like completing the internal testing before the external commissioning. Leads and lags, this is the another tool and technique. Lead allows an activity to start before its predecessor is completely finished. For example, in our solar power plant, wiring activities could start before all the panels are mounted. Lags, it means adds a delay between the activities. For example, after pouring concrete foundation, a lag time of 2 days might be needed to allow the concrete to set before installation, mounting structure work start. Project Management Information System, PMIS. So software tools that assist in creating, visualizing and analyzing the sequence of activities. The project team for the solar power plant can use tools like Microsoft Project, Gantt chart, Primavera to create a network diagram and schedule based on the activity sequencing. So what output we are getting out of this activity? Project schedule network diagram. Project schedule network diagram is a graphical representation which shows the logical relationships and sequencing of project activities. So like for the solar power plant, the network diagram would show activities like site preparation followed by panel installation and commissioning with clear dependencies drawn between them. Project document updates. Activity attributes, these might be updated to reflect the new sequencing information such as dependencies between tasks. Assumption log, if new assumptions regarding sequencing arise, they need to be documented. Milestone list, this could be updated if the sequencing changes. Next process is estimate activity durations. So inputs, project management plan, the component of project management plan like schedule management plan and scope baselines will be referred as an input here. Project documents, various project document as activity list, activity attributes, assumption list, lessons learned register, milestone list. all will be referred as an input, EFs and OPAs. Come to the tools and techniques. So expert judgment. The subject matter expert provide insights based on their experience with the similar activities. Next is analogous estimation. This technique uses historical data from similar projects to estimate the activity durations. If a any 20 megawatt solar power plant installation project was done and it took 10 days for site preparation, so this can be used as an estimate for the current project. Parametric estimation. Parametric estimation is an estimating technique in which an algorithm is used to calculate the cost or duration based on the historical data and project parameters. So if installing each solar panel takes 1 hour and there are total 5,000 panels to be installed, so parametric estimating can be used to calculate the total duration. So it will be total 5,000 hours to complete this process. 3-point estimating. This technique uses 3 points: optimistic, pessimistic, and most likely, O, P, and M. And to calculate the average duration, the formula is O plus P plus M divided by 3. For example, trenching work. Maybe the optimistic estimate to complete the trenching work takes 2 days. And most likely, it's 3 days. And pessimistic is 5 days. So, the estimate will be 2 plus 3 plus 5 divided by 3. So it will be 10 by 3. So it means 3.33 days. Bottom-up estimating. Bottom-up estimating is a method of estimating project duration or cost by aggregating the estimates of the lower level. So the activity install solar panels might be broken down into the lower activities like install support structures, lay wiring, and mount solar panels with separate estimates for each task. So these are then aggregated to get the total duration. Data analysis, alternative analysis, evaluating different ways of completing an activity to find the most efficient method. Like for the solar plant, alternatives for laying cables could include manual labor or using a trenching machine. So both methods can be assessed, but the machine may reduce the time, but it will increase the cost. Decision making, another tool. So the team may vote on the best duration estimate based on the expert input, parametric data, and 3-point estimates. Meetings. The project team meets to discuss, validate, and finalize the duration estimates. Outputs. The outputs of this process is duration estimates. We will get the duration estimate. So these are the quantitative estimates of the number of working hours to complete an activity. For example, this 20 megawatt solar power plant project, the estimated duration for the activity install solar panels might be 25 days, while commissioning the plant could be 7 days. So this kind of duration estimate we will get. Basis of estimates. This explains how the duration estimates were delivered and any assumptions made. For example, the basis of estimates for the solar plant project might note that weather conditions and equipment availability were critical assumptions for the site preparation and panel installation. Next is project document update. So all project documents will be updated like activity attributes. It will be updated with information about estimated durations, assumption log, like the availability or equipment lead times might be added or updated, and lessons learned registers will be updated if any new insights emerge during the estimation process. So they are documented for the future references. Next activity is develop schedule. The develop schedule process involves creating a detailed schedule for the entire project by analyzing activity sequences, durations, resource requirements, and project constraints. This schedule is used to manage the timely completion of the project. So inputs here are project management plan component like project schedule management and scope baseline. Project documents like activity list, activity attributes, assumption log, duration estimates, basis of estimates, which was the output of previous process, lessons learned register, milestone list, project schedule network diagram, resource calendar, resource requirements, risk register. All these will be referred as an input for this process. Come to the tools and techniques. Schedule network analysis. This is the method which is used to generate the project schedule by analyzing the network diagram. For our solar project, network diagram will show how the various tasks like install mounting structure, install panels are linked and the optimal sequence for their completion. Critical path method, CPM, very important. CPM is used to determine the longest sequence of dependent activities and the minimum project duration. So, for example, our solar power plant, if the critical part involves so site preparation, then install mounting structure, then install solar panels, then commissioning. So any delay in these activities will delay the entire project. This is called the critical path method, CPM. So we will be discussing these sequencing techniques, CPM and PERT, in detail in our next episodes. Resource optimization. Resource optimization adjusts the start and finish dates of tasks to ensure that resource usage matches or stays within the available resources. There are techniques for the resource optimization. One is resource labeling. Resource labeling is used when resources are over allocated or unavailable during certain periods. It adjusts the start and finish dates of the task to ensure that resources are not overloaded. So this can extend the project duration if needed to match resource availability. For example, just imagine you are managing the installation of a 20 megawatt solar power plant. You have only one team of electricians to handle both the wiring and the panel installation. So according to the schedule, both tasks are supposed to happen at the same time, but you only have one team. So using this technique, using resource labeling, you would delay one of the tasks, like maybe wiring, so that your electricians can finish the panel installation first and then move on to the wiring. This might extend the project duration because you cannot perform both tasks simultaneously with limited resources. So resource labeling changes the project schedule to avoid over allocation of resources, even if it means extending the deadline. Another technique for the resource optimization is resource smoothing. Resource smoothing is used to adjust the resource usage without impacting the critical path or the project deadline. It makes sure that resources are not over allocated, but it does not change the overall project timeline. Activities are adjusted within their float. For example, in our solar power plant project, let's say the cable trenching can start anytime within a 10 days window and it has some flexibility or float. So, and you notice that your excavation team is overbooked on a particular day. So what you can do here, using resource smoothing, you decide to start the trenching activity 3 days later, keeping it within the 10 days float without extending the overall project timeline. So this ensures that your team is not overworked, but the project still finishes on time. So resource smoothing adjusts resource allocation without affecting the project deadline or the critical path using the float available for that particular task. Next is data analysis. What if scenario analysis? So it tests different scenario to evaluate the schedule impacts. For example, what if a shipment of solar panel is delayed by 5 days? So how will this impact the overall project timeline? So this analysis will help prepare the contingency plans. Leads and lags. Leads allows an activity to start before its predecessor finishes. We might start trenching for cables while solar panels are still being installed. Lags, it introduces a delay between two activities. For example, after foundation work is completed, a lag might be introduced to allow the concrete to cure before starting the solar panel installation. Schedule compression. This technique is used to shorten or accelerate the schedule duration without reducing the project scope. So there are two methods. One is crashing. It adds resources to reduce the time needed for the critical path activities. So we can hire extra teams to work on panel installation and electrical wiring simultaneously, which can compress the schedule. Fast tracking. It overlaps activities that were originally scheduled in the sequence. So start installing the solar panels before all the trenching is completed, as long as the safety permits. PMIS, software tools used to create, manage, and monitor the schedule. Agile release planning. It provides a high-level summary timelines of the release schedule, typically 3 to 6 months, based on the product roadmap and the product vision for the product's evolution. Agile release planning also determines the number of iterations or sprints in the release and allows the product owner and team to decide how much needs to be developed and how long it will take to have a releasable product based on business goals, dependencies, and impediments. Outputs. Come to the output. So schedule baseline, the approved version of the project schedule, which becomes the basis for tracking progress. Project schedule. This is the key output, a detailed schedule showing start and finish date for each activity. Schedule data. It includes the project schedule and related data such as activity durations and resource assignments. Project calendars. It provides information about the working days and shifts available for the project. Change request. If any issues arise during schedule development, a change request may be required to adjust the schedule or scope. Project management plan updates. The schedule management plan and cost baseline might need to be updated based on the developed schedule. Project document updates. So several documents, including the activity list, assumption log, and risk register, these may be updated as a result of developing the schedule. The next and last process is the control schedule. It is a part of the monitoring and controlling process group and ensures that the project stays on track with respect to its schedule. The key benefit of this process is that the schedule baseline is maintained throughout the project. So inputs here, project management plan, specifically the schedule management plan, schedule baseline, scope baseline, and performance measurement baseline will be referred as an input for this process. Project document like lessons learned register, project calendar, project schedule, resources calendar, schedule data, these all will be the input for this process. Work performance data. Work performance data contains data on project status such as which activities have started, their progress, actual duration, remaining duration, and physical percentage complete, and which activities have finished. This includes the actual progress of the installation and commissioning activities, like how many panels are installed or commissioned in a given time frame, and OPAs. Tools and techniques, the data analysis, earned value analysis, EVA. This compares the project's planned value PV, earned value EV, and actual cost AC to assess the schedule performance. For example, if the EV for the solar panel installation is behind PV, means the SPI is less than 1, it means the project is behind schedule. Variance analysis. This helps identify schedule deviations and compares planned versus actual timelines for tasks like site preparation or module installation. Trend analysis. This helps in forecasting potential delays by analyzing historical performance, like delays in procurement or material delivery for the solar power plant project. These tools and techniques, critical path method, project management information system, resource optimization, leads and lags, schedule compression, we just discussed in previous process. Come to the outputs. So outputs we are getting here, work performance information. So work performance information includes information on how the project work is performing compared to the schedule baseline. Reports on the actual progress of the solar panel installation and commissioning tasks compared to the plan. Schedule forecast, updated forecast that predict future project progress based on current performance. For example, a delay in module installation might cause a shift in the commissioning date. Change request. If the schedule is falling behind, change request may be required to adjust resource allocation or the extend deadlines. Project management plan updates. The schedule baseline may need updates if the delays are significant, and the schedule management plan may need adjustments for more accurate forecasting. Project document updates. Project schedules, issue logs, and lessons learned, these all documents may be updated based on the actual progress of the solar power plant project. So let's conclude our today's episode on project schedule management. We explored the 6 critical processes that ensure the timely completion of a project. Starting with plan schedule management, where we define how the schedule will be managed, we moved to define activities, which breaks down the work into manageable tasks. In sequence activities, we establish the logical order of tasks, while in estimate activity durations, we predict the time required for each activity, develop schedule, consolidates all the information to create a realistic project timeline, and finally, the control schedule ensures that we stay on track by monitoring progress and making necessary adjustments. Together, these processes form a comprehensive framework that helps project managers maintain control over project timelines, mitigate any kind of delays, and ensure that projects are completed efficiently and within their deadlines. We have reached the end of this episode, and we have successfully covered another milestone in our project management journey, focusing on project schedule management. Before we wrap up, I'd like to ask you kindly show your support by liking and subscribing to the channel. Your engagement means a lot to me. Namaste, goodbye, Sampai Jumpa.